Hello and welcome to Classic Rock Facts, the place where we celebrate all things classic rock. Today we have 4 different events involving the Beatles and John Lennon. These are great to see the progression of the band over their short career. First is 1964. We have a raw Beatles interview from Sydney, Australia. This is when drummer Jimmy Nichol was standing in for Ringo Starr while he was ill. Notice the interesting dynamic with Jimmy. He had thought for a half second that he might remain the full-time Beatles drummer. I highly recommend the book, The Beatle Who Vanished, about Jimmy Nichol.
Very good. I thought they were very nice coming out in all that rain.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you enjoy the rain?
Oh, it was
well,
funny
seeing
standing there in your new coat.
Seeing as they got soaked, though, we didn't mind.
We'd like to pay a tribute for you coming on the open cut in that cut ground because the kids have been waiting all night and they appreciate it.
Well, they deserved it, didn't they, waiting all night?
I hope you're wearing drip-dry clothes, were you?
No, we thought it was going to be sunny.
George,
And our cases haven't gone
who
yet.
selected the name the Beatles and how did you derive this particular name with
Well,
the
I
BEA
think
instead of
John
BEA?
got the name Beatles
In a vision.
ages ago, when we needed a name and everybody was thinking of a name and he thought of Beatles.
Why the BEA instead of the BEE?
Well, actually,
Well, if they left it with BEE, it was hard enough getting people to understand why it was BEA, never mind.
Paul, what do you expect to find here in Australia?
Australians.
Do you have any acknowledged leader of the group?
No, not really.
Paul, we heard you stood on the balcony outside, is that right?
Pardon?
We heard you stood on your head on the balcony outside.
You don't have here some room.
You didn't stand on your head.
How did the tickets go in Hong Kong? Did you get full houses there?
I think so.
Yeah. No, there was a few 5 quid seats.
You had 5 quid left. Yeah, they were a bit hot, weren't they?
I wouldn't heard it. I wouldn't see me in for 5 quid, did you?
I wouldn't.
I was going to say anything.
You for 2 bob.
John, has the Mersey fleet changed since you've been playing it?
Oh, well, we still keep on saying there's no such thing as Mersey, just something the press made up,
Well,
we call it
you
rock
play
and
the same
roll.
way now as you did?
Just rock and roll, just so happens we write most of it.
Has Buddy Holly influenced your music at all, Joe?
He did in the early days, obviously, But, no, well, not obviously, but he was one of the greats, and that. So
did
liked
James
him.
Thurber, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't sing, so...
Have you been practicing up your Australian accents?
No, Carl, we're not at all. We can't get it, all
Do
I
you think you'll be writing any songs with Australian themes when you're here?
No, we never write themes about anything, Just write the same rubbish all the time.
You play the kind of music you want to play or the kind of music you think people want to hear?
No, we've been playing this kind of music for about 5 or 6 years or something like that. It's just rock and roll, It just happens we write it.
Well, what do you think made the difference that suddenly put you up above the other groups?
We got a record contract.
Speaking of records, what record do you all agree on, generally, as your best recording? Not the best seller, but as the best recording musically.
You mean our favourite?
Well, we always like the one we just made, don't we? So it's Long Tall Sally for me.
This is your latest
I
one.
like.
Well, it's quite new,
I like.
It's not even the same.
I like. Sorry. I like You Can't Do That.
What do you like, Jimmy?
What about you, Jim? You haven't said anything.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
like
feel,
that
Jimmy,
one.
being in with the Beatles?
Pardon?
How do you feel being in with the Beatles, the newcomers, standing in for Ringo?
It's a good experience, man.
How is
Marvellous.
Ringo?
He's much better. He joins them on Sunday.
What do you do then, Jim?
I go back to London and they're fixing up a band for me and I do some television.
And he's away?
You've been progressing pretty well with your Beatle haircut.
Yeah, well, I've been growing it for about 3 months.
How long does it take to get a magnificent mane like this?
I don't know, I can't remember being without it.
Do you ever go to the barbers, John?
No, I've no haircut since the woman on the film cut it good, but I don't trust anybody else.
This is the film Beatlemania, is it?
No, it's not called that. That's another story.
It's got Hard Day's
Hard
Night.
Day's Night, it's called.
Are you satisfied with the finished product?
Well, it's as good as anybody that makes a film who can't act,
Are you individually millionaires yet?
No, that's another lousy room. I wish we were.
Brian Epstein, a millionaire.
No, even he's not one, poor fellow.
Where does all the money go?
Well, a lot of it goes to Her Majesty.
She's a millionaire.
Isn't it a bit disconcerting when you go on stage and do your numbers and nobody hears them because all the girls are screaming?
Well, it's usually adults who don't hear them. Like in Hong Kong, in the paper it said, the Beatles fought a losing battle against the screams. Now, compared with other people, they were quite quiet, you know, they were still shouting. And most of the kids could hear it, but adults went out thinking, I couldn't hear a thing.
Are you very conscious of your responsibilities? I mean, teenagers dwell on your every comment and action. Do you feel very responsible towards this?
No, we just sort of behave as normally as we can, you know. We don't feel as though we should preach this and tell them that, you know, let them do what they like.
You know, we never used to believe it when in the old days we used to open a magazine and it'd say so-and-so doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't go out late. We used to do it. It's funny. So, I mean, you know, we just act normally and just hope that other people don't think we're a bit funny.
Now, you say you act normally, but how can you? How can you when you're getting so much money, when everywhere you go people are crowding around and you can't see anything?
Well, you know, I mean, normal in the environment we can.
In the environment that surrounds you, like, well, you're not as normal as you can, don't you?
Correct, right.
Off the original record after about 8 years coming back and topping the charts around the world.
Well, it hasn't topped the charts around the world yet.
I think it's sold a lot
here.
Sold a lot here, but I don't think it's selling very well.
If it does, we're glad, because that's what we like rock and roll, you know. That's how it starts again. Goody.
And also you brought back in England with the Beatles, the advent of the Beatles, people like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard have once again become big names, haven't they?
Yeah, but there were always groups of people who liked them. You know, especially in places like Liverpool, there were always sort of staunch groups of fans who've never gone off people like that. Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee, Little
So
Richard.
you've more or less revived rock and roll?
Well, you know, revived interest in the beat music, that's all, really.
How do you fellows feel about the sort of music that people like 10, 12, 15 years ago, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, this type of tune? Do you like it, or do you only like rock and roll?
No, but that's not the point. You know, recently Ella Fitzgerald's done. Ella Fitzgerald did "Can't Buy Me Love." Have you heard it? Well,
she did it like Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah, so you know that it doesn't
do it like Frank Sinatra.
This would be a great compliment to your voice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean,
flattered, yeah.
you know what I mean.
I was flattered.
You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be jazz. Because it's one of our songs, you know, we don't reckon we write jazz. She sort of did it with the jazz. Yeah, it's nice.
You just don't only like the modern...
We like all kinds of music. You know, whatever appeals to us, if it's good music for us. And it's good. I don't know.
Got lost again.
Do you find much jealousy amongst other groups in England about you? Not come across it at all?
Not really, because most of the top groups out there are friends of ours, so there's none of that. You know, the jealousy is only something they mix up in the papers. You know, obviously they've got to keep the sort of thing going.
And then
so all the groups there, or anything over there, are sort of best mates. So
and if any of them don't like us, then they don't sort of tell it to our faces. Anyway. We must just say it behind our backs.
What's your favourite entertainment medium? What do you like best, theatre or television? Or?
I like films.
He's going straight.
You don't mean for you mean for us?
For the Beatles, yes.
Oh, I thought you meant for when we're watching, being entertained. Oh well, I don't know really. I think live shows are pretty good.
But they're all good because you get a change. Yeah. So that's the best thing again, you know, all of them together.
Is it true that you originally auditioned for 2 record companies before you were finally signed by EMI Records?
Yeah, we made tapes for Decca, and I think...
And Pi.
And, but we didn't actually go to Pi.
In fact, EMI turned us down, first of all. They did?
Yeah, first of all.
You may laugh. But
don't blame him after hearing the tapes.
And then George Martin, he from EMI, he decided to sign us up just himself, you see.
I think I've got all the songs on.
How many records? Have you got any idea how many records you have sold around the world?
No, I have
just a rough idea.
I asked our publisher to give me an idea.
Last time I heard it was around about 30 million.
30 million.
Was it big, eh?
I don't understand.
Complaining, but you know, it's always raining.
Who owns the Jaguar now? It's Paul, isn't it?
No, it's George.
No.
Do you all read music?
I gave it.
No, none of us.
Comics, we're good at comics.
You're talking about how you do like to be entertained. How do you like to be entertained? What's your busman's holiday?
Films, yeah. Shows,
All of you?
nightclubs, cabaret, and things like that.
Any
You go to a nightclub or
areas?
a cabaret with that.
Yeah.
Mob.
Yeah.
Well, people don't walk around in mobs, you know.
Isn't true you can go to
outside.
I know, but I mean, if you go to a nightclub, you're not going to bump into 500 kids, are you?
This nightclub in Liverpool, the Blue Angel, is that a nightclub you can sort of go to and relax?
It was when we were up there a lot, you know. I don't know. A lot of places in Liverpool have got sort of commercialised, so people come from all over the place just to have a look at them, you know. So I don't know now. I haven't been for years.
Have you played the Cavern at all lately?
Haven't played that for, I don't know.
John, this might be a good one for you to answer. Did you people want to come to Australia?
But they're not booked completely without our knowledge. We're told that there's a possibility you might be going here or there, and if we didn't like it, we'd say
so you didn't want to
go? We said, yeah, because, you know, it's the place to go.
Oh, great.
What was your Darwin reception like, by the way?
It was very cool. We didn't know.
Yeah, it was
going
3 in the morning, I think, and we didn't know until we got about an hour away from it.
But apparently the press in Darwin was known all day.
Apparently. No, I think they guessed.
Only some fella said that the police have been trying to keep it quiet here all day.
Well, a BOAC spokesman said...
Advertising again.
Said that it wasn't definite, but there was a slight
He's been
possibility.
trying to get one in for hours.
Can I now?
Here he is now.
Fellas, did you enjoy doing the Shakespearean excerpt in your TV show?
Yeah.
What?
Except he made us rehearse for days.
And we still got it wrong.
Would you like to play legitimate Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
Did you like the costumes?
Yeah, they were good for a laugh.
Mod.
This lantern doth the owner's moon present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been liking it a lot to the Marx Brothers. Do you find this a compliment? Do you dig this sort of
Well,
thing?
it's a compliment. Well, not for the half. You know, they're funny, aren't they?
When are you going to play the London Palladium?
Oh, we don't know.
Would you like to?
Oh, we've done
We've
it.
done it a couple of times.
You know, I don't know nothing or anything about.
What's the group you play with in England, Jimmy?
Huh?
What's the group you play with in England?
Well, I played with a lot of groups in England. Just before I left, I was playing with a rhythm and blues band.
You were the Blue Flames, weren't you, for one?
Yeah, that's right. Well, only for a matter of days. It was only till Friday I only knew that I was doing this on Wednesday, you know.
Does Brian Epstein manage you?
I don't really... No, he doesn't.
I don't really know. You'd know it if he did.
Jimmy, what was your first reaction when you were told that you were going to play with the Beatles?
I couldn't believe it, really.
Did you have to get their style?
No, we only rehearsed about 5 or 6 numbers, which took up an hour, and then...
Away you went.
Yeah.
If one of you stopped being a Beatle,
Pretty frightening?
The first show was very frightening, yeah. But they reassured
But
me.
he did grand. He did
A grand job he did that.
Thanks, lad.
George, if one of you stopped being a Beatle, what do you think you'd do?
I think I'd train elephants in the zoo.
It's reported that you're the keen businessman of the group, is that right?
Well, yes, that's what it said in the paper. But, you know, I mean, I've never heard of it. It's a new one on me. And maybe, I don't know.
Do you have a
tried
contract
yet.
to remain together as a group known as the Beatles? In other words, do you have contracts between yourselves?
Well, we're a partnership.
There's some sort of a
That's what you
contract.
mean.
No, what I meant
Oh,
was
you mean
possibly
personally,
could
just
George suddenly decide to leave the Beatles group? Could you do that?
I think he could.
Well,
Of course he could, because I mean we would stop him.
no, you know,
Even
if
if they had a
leave,
contract.
but even
We'd
if-
have trying to keep him there, you know,
Standing on
struggling.
I think there is a contract.
Not wanting to play.
That's what I
There
thought.
is a contract between the 4 of us, but if I wanted to leave, then they wouldn't try and stop me, or they wouldn't sue me, I don't think. Would you, fellas?
Now apparently you earn many, many thousands of pounds a year, but how much money do you actually get to spend from your manager?
Well, we don't get money from him. We get money from our accountant. You know, all our money
Are
goes
you on a
to
regular
him.
basis?
Yeah, well, we don't hardly need anything, you know, because most things are sort of paid through the company. You know, we just hardly spend anything in cash. Just cigarettes and things, and even that they bought by our road managers thing, you know.
We get a certain amount a week, and we've got at least half of it left.
What about
every
clothing?
week, 'cause we
Does
never use
also
it.
come from the accountant too?
No.
Bills?
Well, sometimes.
Yeah,
you know.
well, usually we get our tailor to, you know, we order a few suits or how many we want, and then he'll send the bill in to the company, because it's much easier for him to do that as well, and it's easier for us.
Well, you got 2 suits.
This leads into the next question. Now, on stage you all dress literally the same, but off stage I notice even here that you're all dressed quite different. Now, is this also something you make up yourselves? Or?
No, you don't want to. I mean, originally we didn't dress.
Who decided you to change? from leather jackets to natty suits?
It was, I think we decided...
Well, he tried to persuade us.
Because when we went down south, it was all right in Liverpool around there, but as soon as we went anywhere else in sort of jeans and leather jackets, they sort of didn't want to know, you know, because they wanted everybody in grey suits doing that.
You single chaps,
you know how they do it.
You single chaps really don't have any firm plans to get married in the next...
No, I don't like the idea of marriage. It's a bit frightening.
Why is that? Tell us more about that.
It is, isn't it?
And we're all trying to save up a bit before we get married.
Did you enjoy your holidays to Tahiti and the Caribbean, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we met one of your...
Some fella came swimming behind me saying, "You're having a good time," didn't he?
Yeah. Saying I've come all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, as if it was my fault.
Why did you split up and take your holidays?
People like them.
It makes it harder for people, the press, to catch us up. If we all got together, it's a cinch, you know, going to an airport.
And anyway, besides all that, Paul and Ringo fancied going to wherever they went.
Didn't you ask him something about Liverpool, though? That wasn't the question, was it?
Well, I said
Yes, we did.
You coming from Liverpool, what sort of idea do people in Liverpool have about Australia?
Sorry, he was right.
There's a theory that you're almost as popular with adults as you are with teenagers, and that when teenagers find this out, that they will probably lose interest in you. Do you think this is true?
Yeah, well, go on.
Maybe.
No, I'm not saying a word. I don't know. What do you think?
A couple of photographs recently came from America showing all of you, I think it was George and Paul, the one I saw, swimming. But both photographs in different places showed you with shirts on. Now, is this a regular thing to swim with a shirt on?
I think we were only posing for the press, and we weren't really swimming.
Oh, I see.
We just
We might
put
have
them out
been
in
just
about 2
standing in
inches
the
of
water.
water.
I don't think we were actually swimming, as it were, with shirts. Because
Quite
we always
white
wear
skin.
overcoats when we're swimming.
White skins with suntan.
Johnny, what do you attribute to something like Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock, the original record, after about 8 years coming back and topping the charts around the world?
Well, it hasn't topped the charts on the world yet, but
Well,
I think
it
it's sold a lot here.
out here.
Sold a lot here, but I don't think it's selling very well.
if it does, we're glad, because we like rock and roll, you know. That all starts again, goody-goody.
And also you brought back in England with the Beatles, the advent of the Beatles, people like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard have once again become big names, haven't they?
Yeah, but there were always groups of people who liked them. You know, especially in places like Liverpool. There were always staunch groups of fans who'd never people
behind me saying, "You're having a good time," didn't it?
Yeah. Saying I've come all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, as if it was my fault.
Why did you split up and take your holidays?
people liked them.
It makes it harder for people, the press, to catch us up. If we all got together, it's a cinch to go to an airport.
And anyway, besides all that, Paul and Ringo fancied going to wherever they went, and I don't know what happened to us. Somebody just gave us the tickets. And we just ended up there.
When Jerry and the Pacemakers were out here, they rubbished Australian beer. If you had a go at Australian beer, you tried it?
I'm not keen on
I don't like any beer, really.
What do you like?
Scotch
and Coke, yeah.
Teenage Scotch.
Is that a drink that's drunk a lot in England?
No,
I don't know.
we got it in Germany because we didn't like German beer.
Apparently the real one's rum and coke. That's the one that everyone knows. Oh, yeah. But someone gave us Scotch and coke.
They all drink it in Tahiti, we found out. That's their sort of normal drink.
What, Scotch and coke?
But it's caught on a bit, Scotch and coke.
Yeah. When you work, is it true that you have a lot of coke backstage and drink a lot of coke while you work?
Well, you know, just cold drinks. And if it happens to be lemonade, it doesn't matter.
How do you feel before a show? Do you feel nervous?
Yeah.
Depends on the show, where it is and what it is.
How big it is.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new place.
You know, yeah.
Even if it can be a small show and a very new place, and you still get very nervous. You get nervous on the most ridiculous of things too. The Mersey Beat Awards. When we got an award from a Liverpool paper, the Mersey Beat, and you know it was only quite a small thing. The award giving compared to some of the big shows we've been doing, but we were all nervous.
Well, apart from its value to your act, do you like wearing your hair this way?
Yeah, well, we've had it a long time, and we got used to it. It's like you're naked when it's been cut.
I mean, it's not as though somebody made us wear it like this.
And
No,
people
we had it like
years
this
ago,
before we
yeah.
started making records, didn't we?
Why? Economy?
Pardon?
No, but I mean, it
just happened.
Stupid the way people think it's so odd. I mean, it's only since the First World War I read. He all went around like that because he'd cutting the biddies out from the trenches. That's what I read. Before then, he all had his long.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's Paul. Don't believe it. I do.
True, but I
Not my dad.
It's a good excuse.
Not my dad. My dad's got no biddies. No, he has got
Which one? Your dad's a bus driver, Nichol.
Well, he was.
He was.
He's got a gold plated book.
What do your family think about all the attention shown?
Well, naturally they like it and they're all proud, and you know, just like if you had a son, what was a Beatle, or even if you didn't, you know, you're bound to like it more than any other club.
You live fairly close together,
Yeah.
All fellows who work so close together so often and stay and travel together, you must have an occasional argument. So how do you work it out in your system apart from going away on holiday?
Well, it's usually two against one or three against one.
We never have a serious argument.
Or whoever can shout loudest. Another one.
It's reported that the Rolling Stones will be the Beatles. Comment on that?
Well, it's untrue.
Sometimes I think they're reported.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Clark was bigger than us last.
They're big, you know.
And Brian Poole the month before.
Records and things like that. It's true, you know, they're not big enough, but they're big. And that's the truth.
But they wouldn't have the teenage crowds gathering wherever they appeared, as you boys would.
They've got a big following in Britain.
This all harks back. Don't make us release as many singles. I mean, a lot of people say the Beatles are slipping because their record's number 15, but they forget it's already sold about 3 million.
Yeah, I mean, but that happened with our second record. No, the third one from EPU. You know, because it sold more than Please Please Me, went out quicker, or something like that. Oh, that's it then, you know. And they've done it, every single we've made, that's it. You know, so you just give up.
Yeah, and also, the thing about the records now is that they have an awful lot of advance. Is it?
Oh.
Okay. They have a lot of advance sales, so they come in the first week very high, and then sell for about 2 weeks, and then sort of go out very quickly. They've sold an awful lot of records, but it's still, to people who don't know about the record business, it looks a bit off, you know, nothing. That's it.
Did you read the comments that Hal Wallace, the American producer who produced all Presley's films, said about you in a recent
Now, what did he say?
interview? He sort of referred to you as four untalented men, you know, shaggy sort of creatures.
No Coward said that.
No Coward said
Wonder if they know each other.
Would you look upon this as jealousy, mainly because
you
an
know,
American, because you're not American?
No, let's face it, you know, to some people, we've got nothing.
It'd be useless for everybody to like it. You've got to have somebody knocking you up. Those people still say, oh, what's he knocking them for? They're all right, aren't they? You know, it's good when people knock you.
It doesn't matter, you know, there's nobody that everybody likes.
You've got a lot of songs up your sleeve that you haven't recorded, that haven't been published, quite naturally. But you still keep writing songs, that's the thing?
Yeah.
Not enough supply for...
No, but the old songs, you know, most of them aren't very good anyway, you know, they were when we were really starting off. One or two, Love Me Do was an old song.
Yeah. Do you have any individual ambitions to be more than a member of the singing group of the Beatles ultimately?
No.
It's enough.
How many people travel with you in
Depends where we're going.
Three.
Now we've got 3 people. We've got a fellow who looks after the equipment, then our road manager, and then we've got Mr. Epstein's personal assistant here, Derek Taylor.
Correct.
That's in there.
Correct, Derek?
Yes, correct.
Does anybody advise you about what sort of songs to record or to release?
No.
Well, our A&R man advised. When we've made, say, 2 tracks, he advises us as to which is the more. But it's normally we agree amongst ourselves.
And has George and Ringo ever tried to compose songs?
Yeah.
George is written.
I thought it was always Paul and John.
Well, it is. I mean, they've written every song we've ever recorded except one. And I wrote that one.
When Brian Epstein took over managing you, how did he first promote you? How did he first start promoting you?
Well, when he first started handling us, he wasn't a manager, you know, in show business. He was a director of his father's business.
Come here, fellas, one last question.
So anyway, I'll tell you later.
One last question. Do you enjoy being the Beatles, as much as you did, say, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different way, of course, but still not.
Well, that just about sums it up. And that's the end of our outside telecast, which was inside what is usually the dining room of the Sheriff's Hotel, right opposite
Bye, everybody.
And we'll say a very good afternoon.
Goodbye. Ta-da.
Are these all recordings or are they live?
Back on air,
Some are film, some are...
Oh, yeah, that's
Hello, treated American very well, gentlemen.
Yeah, great.
This interview is from 1968. John and Paul discuss their new company called Apple, as well as their new double album. They flew to New York to meet with the press at the St. Regis Hotel.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Larry. Nice to see you, Larry.
Lovely. What is Apple, John?
It's a company we're setting up which involves records, films, electronics, which make records and films work, and what's it called, manufacturing?
Yeah, it does a few things.
You know, the byproducts that end up with Larry Page T-shirts and that.
It's just trying to mix business with enjoyment.
Pleasure.
We're in business, you know. We find ourselves in business.
Are you the directors? Are you the directors of this?
Yeah. But like all the profits won't go into our pockets. They'll go to help people, but not like a charity.
What do you plan?
Somebody wants to make a film and they go to a company and they get shown into the waste paper bin and nothing ever happens, so they go around, they make an underground one and it goes round and round underground and a lot of people never see it. So if they come to us, they won't stand a chance. But we hope to make a thing that's free where people can just come and do and record and not have to ask could we have another microphone in the studio because we haven't had a hit yet.
I see. How expansive, how large will this be here in America?
Well, like that.
How large will it be in America?
We don't know yet, you know, it'll be big, I think.
We're just blowing up the balloon.
There's lots of things, you know, we just got a friend of ours who's in electronics.
Oh, yeah?
I'll tell you about this chap, who's called Alex. And he's great, he's a Greek fella. And he's he's invented incredible things, you see. So that'll be big.
Well, are the days of the Beatles on stage over?
Well, they've been over for the last 2 years because we've been on land. But you never know, do you? With all these incredible electronics, we might come flying over New York playing one day.
Did you enjoy the trip over to India?
Yes, lovely.
The journey was terrible, but the trip was all right.
Yeah.
There was a report that now we get very bad reports.
Smashed him.
That you didn't like it or you didn't have the patience and you decided to go home.
We were there 4 months, or George and I were.
No,
we lost 13 pounds and we looked a day older.
Did you think this man's on the level?
I don't know what level he's on, but
he's on the
we had a nice holiday in India and came back rested to play businessman.
What do you see in the years ahead for yourselves?
You know, an expanding vista.
Apple, you know, try and set it up and then see where it goes. It's like a top, and we set it going and hope for the best.
Paul, about a year and a half ago, there were quotes on the wire about your discussion of LSD and some other things, narcotics.
Yes, Larry.
It seemed to me from what I read that you had endorsed it and condemned it.
We were manufacturing it.
What's the story?
No,
the business went bump.
Somebody asked me. Some newspaper man came up and he said, have you had LSD? So I thought, well, I'll either be cagey here or I'll be honest. So I said yes.
And it was his responsibility for reporting it. So they had him on TV saying, why did you say this? Why did you say
Almost like that situation.
Yeah, but they kept asking him, did you take it? So he says, yeah.
But on TV he says, well, you don't print this bit of film, man. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody about
Almost
it.
like the situation with the Christ statement.
Yeah, right. But see, they just asked me a question. I gave them an answer. And then it was blown up. I mean, you know, I just spoke the truth. And it's sometimes painful.
You know, here in the United States, we've had a lot of riots on campuses in the last...
You betcha, Larry.
Do you read much about these things?
Yeah, it's on the news.
You know, these same
We've
people
got TV back home now.
Yeah.
Yes. We've seen that.
These same people were Beatle people 4 years ago.
Yes.
And
they've grown up, right?
What's your immediate reaction when you read about something like this? It's happening overseas now, too.
It's going on everywhere, you see, so the immediate reaction is...
drag.
Wonder what the main object of all this going on at once is. And then it makes you think, Larry.
Yeah,
well,
you know,
even in Wales they're rioting.
People seem to be, like, unhappy about something. And they seem to be messing it up. So that anything we can do to help, we should do.
And that's what everybody's doing.
That's what Apple's about, you know.
Trying to make people happy.
Not really, you know, just trying to help, you know. They don't have to be happy. You know, just trying to help people.
I'm very slow.
You get the picture, Larry. Come on, own up.
Own up, Larry.
Are you happy?
You used to be nice, Larry. You used to be very charming.
Yeah, I'm not completely happy. I'd be a fool to say I was, Larry.
It varies, doesn't it? I mean,
generally.
If you had it all the time,
generally, yeah.
It might be hysterical, but...
Do you miss the big crowds? I mean, the big crowds? And
No, I don't miss them at all, Larry.
It's all past now.
Well, we don't know. 5 looks quite big to me these days. My eyes are going 27, you know.
How is Ringo and how's George?
Lovely.
Very healthy.
Do you plan any type of theatrical production?
I don't know. If somebody comes up with a production and says, I can't get this on, we say, can't you? Let's have a see look.
What do you think about that?
I mean, us ourselves doing it.
Yourselves, on stage.
They're doing one of John's books at the National Theatre in London.
It's disgusting what happens in England these days.
What about, I hate to get on politics.
Singing and all that. Right. We're still doing all that, you know. Nothing's changed. The only difference is we don't tour. But we might do in the future, you know.
You might tour again?
Yeah, we only stopped touring because there was nowhere to go, you know. You could only get bigger and bigger audiences. You couldn't hear it. And we couldn't
with all
get
the
better.
rifles and the big masks and all that and the clubs frightened me to death, viewers.
I hate to get on politics, but you know, you're a young man, about my age over
27.
there. Right. And what do you think about this racial business over in England? I know we talked about this before. Seriously.
The one over in England? Or
you know, the leader of the party talking about laws against immigration and...
yeah, you know...
They just try to be with it.
What do you mean by be with it? Just...
Well, like the Queen doesn't need to be with it, says Hardy Amis. She is it, says Hardy Amis.
Now, that thing's just the same question everywhere, you know. It's no different in England. It's a bit less harmful in England. But it's the same thing, you know. Some people don't like other people because they're not the same as them.
I talked to you after about a year after the assassination of President Kennedy, and you said that at the time that this alarmed you. You know, it was a shocking thing when you first heard about it.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same
assassination is
the same type of feeling about Martin Luther King?
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think we are, deadbeats?
I mean, well, what was your general reaction? Of the
what was yours then? I can't describe. I felt, oh, they've got another fella, have they? They've done it again. Who is it? You know.
Of course, you're separated from the scene. You're over there, and you're outside looking in.
No, not really. You know. No, that's not.
We're trying to keep up with what's going on, Larry.
It's the same thing everywhere. You know, there's somebody messing it up, and we're going to find him.
I believe his description is going round now, this very moment.
Right.
A short brown suit with a pair of charcoal grey trousers.
You're keeping up with the times.
Oh, I am, yes.
One final question. In all the time you've been Beatles, before you were just people from Liverpool, there was always a question that somebody asked you, when's the bubble going to burst? Remember that?
Yes.
The bubble hasn't burst, and it doesn't seem like it's going to burst.
It just flew off.
But do you ever envision a time of just ceasing being the Beatles and going off on your own, or even working together?
We do work on our own anyway now.
You never can be anything else
we
but
are
the Beatles.
The Beatles, you know, that's what we are.
We're also Apple as well, see. They're like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Brown. But they're both meant to be nice, you see.
Do you plan to visit over here again?
Oh, yeah. You know, we don't plan anything. It just happens, you know. We just come over here and go over there, and it's, you know, we'll be back, and you know, anything could happen.
Out of all your experiences in the United States, what would you say was the highlight of your career here?
Escaping from Memphis.
Seriously,
just the first thing happening. Just hearing about I Want to Hold Your Hand in Paris, I remember it so well. We had a celebration milk, and when we got here and all that scene was going on at the airport, it was amazing. That was it.
Did you expect this?
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Did you expect it?
No, and it was just sort of getting a foothold in the market, but not getting your whole head right in straight away.
What do you think about music now, here in this country, our top 40?
Nielsen for president.
Do you think music is making it? Do you think it's improved any? Do you think
some of it? There's a lot of sort of...
It goes up and down, you know.
Well, we got Bill Haley again, and we also got what came before him. That's young girl, get on the
I guess that's about it, but I'd like to extend my best wishes to both of you. And
it's been a pleasure.
I don't know if it's going to help.
Great working with you, Larry.
Yes, it is.
Enjoyed it?
And you can join Apple anytime you like.
Okay.
Here is John and Yoko appearing on the Jerry Lewis Telethon in 1972. This was just days after their appearance at the 1-to-1 concert. John and Jerry had become friends in L.A.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting, and I'm proud to present, two of the most unusual people in all the world, and I don't mean just the world of entertainment. They fit no patterns, meet no standards, except the standard of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, John Lennon and Yoko.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. I wonder if we can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. hope someday you'll join us. And the world will be as one. Thank you. Sandy Miller.
John and I love this country very much, and we're very happy that we're still here. Next song is called Now or Never.
She wrote it for today.
That's right.
Okay, Rick. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Are we gonna keep pushing our children to drugs? Are we gonna keep driving them insane? Are we gonna keep laying empty words and fists? Are we gonna be remembered as a century that failed? People of America, when will we learn? It's now or never. There's no time to lose. Are we gonna keep sending our youth to war? Are we gonna keep bombing rice fields and infants? Are we gonna keep watching dead bodies
This time last year, we had it a little easier. We were sitting in bed watching this show. We watched it all last night. Jerry is one of our favorite comedians. I wish he had never grown up. This is your chance to sing, even if the lights aren't on you, okay? We've made it easy for you. You'll recognize it when they start singing. Let's give peace a chance. Reggae, baby! This is how they do it in Jamaica and London. That is the chorus.
Here is John in one of his last televised interviews. The Tom Arrow Show. It was 1975 and he was involved in immigration issues, marital issues, and being a father.
You see, having gone through the Beatlemania thing, nowadays it's nothing like that. I mean, I can walk down the street and somebody will say, "Oh, hi, John," and they usually say, "How's your immigration?" You know, if it's in New York, right? And they don't hassle me. I might sign one autograph, two autographs, you know? And I don't get hassled. And I went through that period where I actually couldn't go anywhere. And so now it's like heaven. I can go and eat. We go and eat. We go to the movies. We go wherever we want.
John Lennon was walking down a street on the west side of New York last night between 10 and 11 o'clock Eastern Time when he was shot down by an assailant. He is dead tonight in a senseless and terrible, terrible moment. The interview that you just saw, the portion of that interview, was first recorded here in New York at the NBC studios during April of 1975. And to this day, the John Lennon Show, as it is called in the Tomorrow series, is still one of the most often requested programs for repeat purposes. And we're going to run the entire interview tonight, not because it's a terrific interview or it's terribly entertaining or enlightening. It is, after all, 5 years old, but curiously, it turns out that possibly this interview is the last television interview that John Lennon ever did. It contains no historic information, nothing terribly new, but after all, it is a little bit of stuff and substance of a man who was part of a change, a revolution, if you will, in popular music back during the 1960s. And during the 1970s, John Lennon found a new lifestyle for himself, which he will discuss during this interview. A bit later on, we have Lisa Robinson, who did one of the last interviews with John Lennon, which will appear in the New York Times syndication service later on. And Mr. Jack Douglas, who produced John and Yoko Ono's current album, Double Fantasy, who was with John and Yoko shortly before his tragic death here in New York last night. We'll be right back to run the 1975 interview with John Lennon after these announcements, and I hope that you'll all stay with us. We'll be back here in about 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Promised, here is John Lennon, and a little bit later on in the program we'll talk about the possibility of his having to leave the United States, and at that time his attorney, Mr. Leon Wilds, will join us to make certain that John or I make no mistakes in the legalities. But I welcome you here, and I'm glad that you're here. As I said at the outset, back in 1964, after the cataclysmic arrival of the Beatles here in the United States and the great popularity you had on the Ed Sullivan program and others, there were many people who did not really understand what you were doing, and they thought then that your hair was long and that you looked modish, you know, and you were revolutionary. Does it surprise you at all that it took so many of us such a long time to get into your act and to realize what you were doing?
No, it was mainly parents, and they were against rock and roll, you know. Anyway, before the Beatles came along, I mean, people have been trying to stamp out rock and roll since it started.
Why do you think that is? What are they afraid of?
I always thought it was because it came from black music, and the words had a lot of double entendre in the early days. And it was sort of, you know, the white kids, our white, nice wasps, are going to go crazy with all this moving their bodies. You know, and the music got to your body, and the Beatles just carried it a bit further, made it a little more white even than Elvis did, because we were English, you know. And people couldn't hear it. That's why they didn't understand it.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. You know, one could never understand the words until one sat down with the record album. I went to a couple of your personal appearances, including one in, I think, in Philadelphia in 1965 in an outdoor location.
Oh, yeah.
And there was so much screaming and so much carrying on. And did that bother you at all when you were doing those concerts? That people couldn't hear your music, that all they heard was themselves screaming?
It got a little boring. I mean, it was great when it first happened. When you'd come on, there'd just be nothing but wah, you know. But then we just became like lip syncing, you know, miming. And sometimes things would break down and nobody'd know. And so it wasn't doing the music any good, you know?
When you guys were in the dressing rooms after these concerts, or when you were in the dressing room after the Ed Sullivan Show, where, my heavens, young people were just almost flinging themselves on stage, didn't you ever wonder, are these people crazy? Are we that good? Can we really produce this kind of reaction in people?
We didn't think whether we're that good or not. You've got to think you're good to do what we did, you know? It was like being in the eye of a hurricane, and so there was never a time when you thought, what's going on? And that was about as deep as it got. What is happening? Or what, you know, you'd suddenly wake up in the middle of a concert or a happening and think, how did I get here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I remember was playing music in a club, and the next minute this. But we never thought about it too much, because it was an ongoing thing. It was happening to us, and it was hard to see, you know. We were just in the middle, being ushered from room to room.
As I recall, there were fan clubs or clubs of followers formed for each of the individuals in the organization.
Well, it was mainly a Beatle club, but, you know, they sort of fanned it out a little just to keep the...
And I'm just wondering how unified any group can be. And I'm not singling out the group that you belong to, the Beatles, but how unified can any group be when the audience has certain favorites? Maybe they like Paul more than they like John, or something like that. And I wonder... I got right to it, didn't I? Yeah. I just wondered if it's awfully difficult to be friends, and do you really care about whether or not you're friends when you are a group such as the Beatles, or whether you're the Rolling Stones or whoever?
We didn't break up because we weren't friends. We just broke up out of sheer boredom, you know. And boredom creates tension.
How can you get bored doing what you did?
Because it was going on, it was not going anywhere, you know. We'd stop touring, and we'd just sort of say, time to make an album, you know, go in the studio, and the same four of us would be looking at each other and playing the same licks.
And those silly haircuts, yeah.
Those silly haircuts that you have now. You see, notice he's got his now. And we were very good friends, and we'd known each other since we were 15, you know, and we got over all the actual fighting, the real nitty-gritty, dirty, you know, stuff, which had nothing to do with how popular we were. The same popularity, meaning Paul was always more popular than the rest of us, was going down in the dance halls in Liverpool, so it didn't come as any big surprise, you know. I mean, the kids saw him, the girls would go, ooh, ooh, you know, right away, so we knew where the score was there. But it was a group, it was the music that was interesting, that was important, you know, not who was, you know, as long as we were, you know, going forward and going somewhere, it didn't matter.
But all of a sudden there just wasn't any further progress. It was the same old over and over again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it just got like a marriage that doesn't work or something.
Now, there are some groups that are quite open in their advocacy in the music that they present. They advocate social justice. They call for an end to war. They wish for a time when there might be a change in the drug possession laws. Your music did not do that. There wasn't a great deal of out-and-out editorialization in the songs that the Beatles did. At least I didn't feel it, and I don't think that a lot of parents felt it.
Now, all our messages were subliminal, you know. Meaning we were sending messages out, all right, but...
yeah, but what kinds of messages?
Just reporting on the state we were in, you know, looking back on it. And we made things like All You Need Is Love, you know, which is was our version.
That's a pretty wholesome message, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wholesome. But it was still a change in attitude. We're part of that psychedelic stuff. But which groups you talking about this advocate change?
Well, you know, I really don't know them offhand, except I sat down one evening with David Crosby, and we were talking about some songs that have been done by a number of groups, and since I don't have them fixed in my memory, I shouldn't say it was the Rolling Stones, or it was this or that or the other thing.
It must have been people doing Dylan songs, more likely.
All right.
Yeah. Are we on or what? No.
Yes, we are on, but we're on back there. Did you want to turn around and wave to the people?
I'd just like to know where it's coming from.
All right, you're over here, and I'm over there, and we're over there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Nice to be with you.
Yeah, I like the set now. It's got better, you know. I watch the show all the time.
Thank you. But in any event, your message was subliminal. You didn't have any axe to grind with social injustice, or did you?
No, our only axe was we were the first working class singers that stayed working class and pronounced it. Didn't try and change our accents, which in England were looked down upon, probably still are. Like a Bronx accent, it's equivalent to that. You know. The only change was our image, you know, being slightly... What do you want? What do you want?
Get me off the hook.
Yeah, you're right.
A Bronx accent, it could be a Brooklyn accent, it could be...
Oh, yeah, Brooklyn was the one I meant, actually.
Okay, all right, fine. Just get me off the hook.
Because that sounds like Liverpool. They talk like that there, do-de, you know? I mean, all the stars in England before... There were a couple of sort of rock and roll stars before us, but any major star in England had to change his voice. They do it in America to get on TV and radio, right? Hi, I'm from nowhere. The one George Carlin does.
Well, that goes in England, too.
Do you know that I once took an audition at a station in the southern part of the United States with a young woman who wanted to do the weather forecast on the television station? And for some curious reason, a southern accent at that time was not acceptable even in the southern United States. And so she asked the engineers if they could put the filter on the microphone that took the southern accent out of all of our voices. And of course, there is no such filter.
No.
And you had to be there, and then you would have realized how humorous that was at the time.
Well, I laughed, didn't I?
Yeah, but you laugh because you're a good guy.
No, filter, I understand the business, you know. Recording, filters. Look funny from the side.
Do you think?
Yeah. Go on.
I don't think you look so.
No,
look to the side
bad,
again.
It's not
no,
bad.
it's not bad.
You're just not used to seeing yourself sideways, that's what it is.
Were the Beatles before the groupies, or did you have those?
Oh, we had them, yes.
I mean, not did you have them, but were they
didn't
around?
call them...
Well, did you have them? I guess
They
that's
were great, Tom. They were great. They didn't call them groupies then. I forgot what we used to call them. Something like slags, you know.
Slags?
So there's some word they had in England for it. And, yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons to get on stage is it's the quickest way of making contact, you know. And, you know, you went to see those movies with Elvis or somebody in it when we were still in Liverpool, and you'd see everybody waiting to see him, right? And I'd be waiting there too. And they'd all scream when he came on the screen, right? So we thought, that's a good job. That's why most musicians are on stage, actually.
Why is that?
To get a little, Tom, to get a little extra.
What, a little extra money?
Yeah, you know what it is. It is 2 o'clock, right? We're all right.
No, you got to be kidding me. Is that one of the big reasons, the sexual aspects of singing? That's the reason most of these great dedicated
I would say that any
artists are on stage, that they don't care about their music, that they're just up there for a little extra?
No, but that is a good incentive. For all performers, let's not just pin down the poor musician.
And it wasn't, well, speak for yourself, John.
Well, all right. I can't speak for musicians then.
No, and please don't speak for those of us who toil in the television vineyard, because that is the farthest thing from our minds.
Of course.
Yes.
I understand that.
Now, and you say...
news as well.
And then I could assume that when you say that going on the stage to perform music is one of the best ways of making contact, that what you're saying is it's one of the best ways of making sexual contact. Hmm?
Well, yes, we're not looking to have a card game, that's what it is. You know? I mean, you don't go on stage and think, that would make a nice card game.
Most of the young women who follow the rock groups then were very, very young. They were in their teens. And I just wonder if ever there was a problem where an irate father or mother might have called the dressing room on occasion and said, hey, what's going on down there? And you probably said, quiet, there's a card game going on.
Yes, sure. No, I mean, in the very early days when we were playing dance halls, there were just a certain type, which you call groupies now, which would be available for functions at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. And in general, most kids would just go home with their boyfriend or whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And there was always a small group that just went for any performer. They didn't care whether it was a comedian or a Manuette Glass, you know, as if it was on stage.
Right, the guy who swept up after the elephants. Hey, where are you going?
Right. And actually, the people that work for rock groups usually get more action than the actual rock group, right?
I don't say right to me, because I
well,
don't know.
You can imagine it, Tom. They auditioned.
Right.
They get the cream of the crop, you know. If you want to see Elvis, you got to see me first.
Gotcha. As you said, right. Let me pause here for these announcements from our affiliated stations. We'll continue with John Lennon in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. You said earlier that it became boring to stay with that group. Why is what you're doing now not boring when that was?
Because I can change musicians whenever I like. And it tends to get into a format, you know. Because we were together much longer than the public knew us. You know, it wasn't just from '64. I was 24 in '64, and I've been playing with Paul since I was 15. And he's very nice. and George about a year later or something. So it's a long time we spent together in all the most extraordinary circumstances, from, you know, lousy rooms to great rooms. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't just the public just think, oh, you were only together 5 years, we've only got 5 million records, you know. But we were together a long, long time, and we just became stale musically.
But how are you not stale musically now, aside from changing
because
musicians?
I'm interacting with different musicians. To me, they're musicians. They're not just, you know, it's not like, to people, they're all stars, right? it's like having Elton John and Elvis and a few people playing, you know. To me it isn't, it's just musicians, and to them it's the same. So if you play with the same person all the time, you get into a rut. Even if you play tennis with the same person.
Gets boring.
It comes to a time when you know every move, and you have to find somebody else to play with.
As you listen to music today, I don't know if you listen to the radio a lot or if you listen mostly to records, but what are things that you see that you think are good or bad?
Well, that's pretty general. I like the disco music that's out now, which is great music. I like the thing that happened in Jamaica called reggae. There's a music in Jamaica called reggae, which has been around for years under the disguise of ska, blue beat, etc., etc., but it finally formed itself into reggae. And that's about the really newest thing that's happened in music in the last 5 years or 6 years.
Do you think anything new happens to music, or is it a continual series of cycles, and that maybe 100,000 years ago somebody had the same kind of beat or the same kind of whatever it is that makes it different, and that maybe the whole thing is just going in cycles, or are we in fact discovering things all the time?
I think there's something to the cycle thing, but I think if you apply the cycle idea to it, that's a cycle for everything, not just music, you know? But it's snowballing either with just because of electricity or because of all the garbage everybody picks up, you know, because we keep inventing things, right? So it does change, and it has cycles in a way, you know, like I think the whole whatever it is, the universe is a series of cycles. But the music has to change because they keep inventing new things, like, you know, films change, it's now video, so it's in that way it's different.
But don't you know that in about 1988 there's going to be a group come out that is going to pick right back to the sound that you guys had in the since you're 15 years old, and all kinds of critics and all kinds of writers are going to say, wow, look at this, we've got this whole new sound that's reminiscent of the Beatles back in the 60s?
Well, they'll probably be playing Grutsch blobs and Zakdungas, right? You know, they'll have new instruments. And although rock and roll was brand new when it came out and excited everybody, it was sort of, it had roots in blues and jazz. So in that way, they would have their roots in the 60s, 70s, and possibly further back. But you can't say that rock and roll is like the 20s music, although if you look for it, you can find out where it came from. And you can find out where Beatles music came from, or any music came from. It's just like, it has its history.
Before we get into your immigration status, and we'll bring Mr. Wilds out at that time.
Hooray!
Hooray! And that is a controversy for you and for people who would want you to stay in this country. You've been involved in some other mini controversies, like the time that you were on the cover of the album without any clothes on, and like the time that you and Yoko had everybody or invited people to come into the bedroom while you were there.
We held a bed in for peace,
a bed in for peace, exactly. Why do you do those things? And I don't ask you that because I want to engender some flip response from you, but what does that gain for you as John Lennon, or what does it gain for the cause of peace in the case of the bed-in for you to do something like that?
Yoko and I, when we got together, decided that whatever we did was going to be in the papers, you know, whether it's Richard or Liz or so-and-so gets married or whatever people like us do is going to be in the papers. So we decided to utilize the space we would occupy anyway by getting married with a commercial for peace and also a theatrical event. And the theatrical event we came up with, which utilized the least energy with the maximum effect, was to work from bed. And what we virtually had was a 7-day press conference in bed, where the press fought. The first day they fought at the door to get in, thinking there was something, you know, sexy going on. And then they
licentious.
found, that was the word I was looking for. And they found two people talking about peace, you know. And reporters always have 5 minutes with you, or 10 minutes with you. We let them ask anything for as long as they wanted for 7 days. And all the time we just kept plugging peace. And the story that came out was John and Yoko do bed in for peace. And we were just promoting peace, like you promote any product. You know, they promote war, join the Marines, join this. We were promoting peace. The Naked album cover was less general than that, meaning we didn't have. That was one of the first things we did. We thought, you know, we felt like two virgins. That's what the album was called, because we were in love, just met, and we were trying to make something. And we thought to show everything. People are always looking at people like me, trying to see some secret, or what do they do? What do they do? You know, do they go to the bathroom? Do they eat?
Do you?
I do, quite a lot. You know, and we just said here, you know, and that was in 1968, and all hell broke loose. But now they're jumping around naked all over the place, right?
Yes, they are, as a matter of fact.
Right. So we were just sort of ahead of our time.
What difficulties are there for people who are in the public eye, who know, as you and Yoko did, that whatever you do, it's going to be picked up in the press, and you really can't go out and, I suppose, have a quiet dinner or go to the park or go to a movie or something like that? What difficulties are there in your life when there's such adulation for you and such curiosity about what you do all the time?
Well, that's cool, because that's part, I reckon that's part of the
What, part of the
price,
territory?
You know? Yeah. But you see, having gone through the Beatlemania thing, nowadays it's nothing like that. I mean, I can walk down the street and somebody just say, "Oh, hi, John," and they usually say, "How's your immigration?" You know, if it's in New York, right? And they don't hassle me. I might sign one autograph, 2 autographs, you know? And I don't get hassled. And I went through that period where I actually couldn't go anywhere. And so now it's like heaven. I can go and eat. We go and eat. We go to the movies. We go wherever we want. If there's an announcement, like there's an opening and everybody's going to be there, you get a lot of noise and cameras and flashbulbs. But if we just decide to go to dinner, it's cool, you know? We're probably less recognizable than you now, being on every night.
I doubt that.
You're on every night. You kidding?
But it doesn't make any difference, because when you were on, you had 35, 40, 50 million people. I'll never forget the time that you came to Los Angeles. I was working there for Channel 5, and you were giving a concert at, I don't remember where it was. Hollywood Bowl, is that right? Thank you. And there were the lines for the tickets, and there was all the attendant publicity prior to the appearance and everything else. And one of our reporters went out and covered all this, and he came back and he said, "It's going to be wild out there tonight." And I, because I'm not very smart, went on the air and I said, "Well, if you'd like to know where the Beatles are, call this guy, and his home number is." And I mean, his phone didn't stop ringing for 4 days. It was just an obscenity. And I wish that if he's watching, I'm sorry I did that. And so your viewability or your visibility is so tremendously high, or at least was then, and I just wondered if it had kind of slopped over into your career now.
No, I mean, I can get around now, you know. I can get. I'm glad too. I don't miss it. I'm glad it happened, but I don't miss it.
Yeah,
I like
in spite
to
of the boredom, in spite of the fact that maybe there were little dissensions, those were good times for you.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. I mean, the boredom was in the music. I mean, that came after all the Beatlemania.
Did you save your money?
What we could get our hands on, yeah.
What do you mean, what you could get your hands on?
Well, a lot of it got siphoned off before we even got near it, you know. I mean, we didn't know anything about business or anything like that, you know. And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of millionaires around this world, so, yeah. But that's part of the action, too.
Okay. Let me pause here for these announcements. We'll continue with John Lennon on tomorrow in 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and I trust you'll stay tuned. Thank you. Among other things, watching this again proves how dumb people look when their hair is too long and they wore those leisure suits. Awful. We'll get back to this interview with John Lennon, recorded in April of 1975, after these announcements for the NBC television stations coast to coast. I'll try to make this the last question I ask about the past and about the Beatles. You must watch what your former colleagues are doing, and do you derive satisfaction from it? Are you happy for their successes?
Yeah. I'm most happy, I guess we all are in a way, for Ringo's success. Because the other three of us, you know, it always went round Ringo was dumb, but he ain't dumb. But he didn't have that much of a writing ability, and he wasn't known for writing his own material. And there was a bit of a worry that, you know, although he can make movies, and he does make movies, and he's good at it, that how was his recording career going to be? And in general, it's probably better than mine, actually. So he's
and
doing
what's
all right.
amazing is that he's done it with some songs that were popular when you and I were both teenagers in this country.
A lot of You're 16 and things like that. Stuff that, you know.
Oh My My?
Well, I think he wrote that. Is that an oldie?
Only You?
Oh, Only You. I suggested that for him.
You did?
Yeah.
Now, why is it that those songs done by Ringo Starr achieved this popularity when they were popular 20 years ago?
Because a good song is a good song.
Okay.
You know, and you can jazz it up or do it with whatever rhythm you like. But if the song is there, it stands.
When musical groups become successful, or musicians, or really when anybody in the public eye becomes successful, immediately there are rumors about their personal lives, and I suppose the fact that some people are caught in the possession of certain unlawful substances like marijuana or cocaine or LSD or speed. A lot of people say that's all they do. They smoke a lot of grass, they eat a lot of LSD, they're all acid heads, and they're all all rocked out. How much of it is there going on in truth?
I wouldn't know, you know. I mean, what do I know?
Come on, John. Come on.
I know as much as you.
Come on.
In truth, how much of it goes on where? You know, it depends.
Well, in your little coterie of friends,
my friends are as clean as a whistle.
I'm sure they are, as a hound's tooth, in the words of General Eisenhower. But
I'd say there was as much dope in the music business as there is in virtually any other business now. The dope is so out in the open that you can go anywhere and it's there. So there's no sort of underground movement of people taking dope, you know. The most extraordinary straight people are taking dope, including cocaine. It's available anywhere at any time, and it's all over the place. If you want it, you can have it, you know.
And it's no more predominant or prevalent in your industry than it is in insurance, in retailing, and in selling tires. Is that what you're saying?
I think you'll find a lot of middle-class people in their mid-30s who grew up in the 60s have marijuana and now cocaine around like you'd have a glass of wine. You know, I'm not saying it's good, you know, and cocaine's not too good for you at all, you know, but I'm saying that it's there, and a lot of perfectly, quotes, ordinary people use it.
If you were to be approached by the National Council on Drug Addiction, or whatever the name of the agency is, to make one of those little films that run on television, you'd say, "Hi, I'm John Lennon, and I like to tell all young people that dope is a bummer and cocaine is bad." Would you do that? I mean, do you believe that strongly in that?
It would depend how the advert was made, you know, because you can't bull blank the kids, because they know more about dope than I do now. There's drugs on the market that I don't even know what they are, you know. And so if it was done the way I would like to do it, I
How would you like to do it?
I'd have to think about it. I'd have to talk to whoever asked me to do it, you know. I mean, it's no good me saying, "Hey, dope is bad, don't do it." You know, they say, "What? So what? Who are you?" You know.
Well, you have a certain following among young people, and they might listen to you, whereas they would not listen to Yasha Heifetz, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but people, there's an illusion that just because somebody buys your record that they're going to do what you tell them. It doesn't work that way. If I tell them, go jump in a river, just because they buy my record...
No,
you know,
not at all.
right?
But certainly, you'd be surprised how people who appear on television or people who appear before audiences are looked towards for some kind of personal insight into the world or their own lives that a lot of times those people don't even have.
Yeah, they might ask questions of famous people, but in actuality, you cannot tell people anything. They have to find out for themselves. I mean, you can leave signposts saying, you know, it's dangerous here, or you can fall over there, but in reality, you know, it's no good telling people anything. They have to find out.
What part did drugs play in leading to the present circumstance in which you find yourself? And I think we can tell that part, and then we'll bring
Leon Wilds.
Mr. Wilds out, and he will be here for the discussion of your immigration procedure.
In the late 60s, there was a headhunting cop who was not very high up in the drug department in London, which was pretty new anyway. They had 2 dogs for the whole department. And he went round and bust every pop star he could get his hands on, and he got famous. And some of the pop stars had dope in the house, and some of them didn't. It didn't matter to him. He planted it or did whatever. Later on, that's what he did to me, because at that time I didn't have any drugs. And
he planted something in your house. He planted marijuana in your house, didn't he? Or you say he did.
Yeah, I mean, I say he did. I know.
Well, I have to say that because I wasn't there.
Well, he's not going to get us. We're in America, all right? He's in jail now, by the way, because he later got to be top dog, and he had a big drug scandal thing going, like the one that was going over here, the big investigation in the New York police when I was first here, the one, the Serpico thing. Well, we had a little one in England which happened after I left, and he was caught in Australia trying to escape. You know, the English always run to Australia thinking they're going to vanish there. You know? So he was caught And I didn't think
Can't
about...
vanish in Australia. Everybody knows it's down there.
Yeah, but they always have the illusion if you go to Australia, you get away with it. You know?
Sure.
And I at the time didn't even think I was bust. And to cut a long story, that he planted me. To cut a long story short, I'd just moved into an apartment and I'd had everything moved from my other apartment. It was all over the place. So I thought, well, maybe this is a bit of hash that was left over, and I'd forgotten all about it. Possibly that was what happened, you know. And I just copped a plea, you know. He said, I won't get you for obstruction if you cop a plea. And I thought, oh, it's $100 or whatever, you know. It's no skin off my nose, little thinking it would reverberate. And he said, oh, you know, I'll let your missus go, you know, because they never... In England at that time, the law was, if it was in this building, Mr. NBC would be caught for it. You know, he was responsible for it, even if he wasn't living there. That was the law then.
Do you mean that if an officer of the law were to come in here, and they were to find an unlawful substance upon these premises, John, that the president of this television network would be liable to arrest if that law were in effect?
That was an English law at the time that's been changed. Yeah. So you better put it out.
No, this is... No. Oh, come on. Don't do that to old Tom. See that old filler there, folks? Got the writing right here on the paper. Now, come on.
We all know you're a nicotine addict. Anyway, the guy planted me, and it didn't dawn on me till later, till I called a few friends who'd also been busted and said, did you have stuff? One of them said, yeah, I did have stuff. It was on the table. They didn't even notice it. They planted a whole pile in my bedroom. You know, he had it out on the table, some marijuana. So the guy was a rip-off, and he's in jail, and half that drug department's in jail too.
But now, you thought that all you'd have to do was pay the $100 fine, but then what happened?
Well, I did just pay the fine, you know, and that was the end of it, and it went in the papers, whoopee, and another pop star bites the dust, you know. And then I came over to America and just, with no particular decision, decided that I'd like to live here, you know. I came over for a visit or something, and I was always coming and going and coming and going, and Yoko had been educated here, and she was always going on at me about New York, you know, and she finally showed it me and walked me around. And I fell in love with it, and we thought, get an apartment instead of staying in a hotel all the time.
Surely.
So the next minute we thought, hey, well, let's stay, you know, isn't it great? So we also had other complications going on. The show isn't long enough for it, about her ex-husband running away with her daughter, and there was court cases in Houston, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we had to keep applying for these visas. And after you bust, it's suggested that you don't apply for 9 months, you know. And people now have problems getting in. Mick Jagger, Stones, lots of musicians, Paul. Lots of people they have to sort of do a lot of ritual to get in before they can come and go. So we tried to say, look, we have this big case, we need to come in, and there was always a hassle and a hassle and a hassle, and then they started trying to throw me out.
All right, so we're at the point now where it might be helpful to have Mr. Wilds, your attorney, present, just so that nothing is said that might prejudice.
Well, it's really in case you have a question that I can't answer. You know, they ask me what's happening with you, and I say, well, there's some paper went to some senator that called, and I don't know who.
All right, fine. We will have Mr. Leon Wilds, Mr. Lennon's attorney, join us after these announcements. Tomorrow we'll take away from Manhattan in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Joining John Lennon with us now is Mr. Leon Wilds, his attorney, and if any questions come up as to where it stands or where it is in the courts or legal appeals or whatever, Mr. Wilds has the expertise to speak to those points. Plus, he looks nice on television. You were told it might be a good idea to wait for 9 months before applying for citizenship?
No, this was after the bust in England, before applying to visit the United States.
I see.
That it would be a cool idea. That's sort of, you know, it would be a cool idea.
What is your status in the country right now?
That's why Leon's here. What am I, Leon?
Well, John was charged with being deportable in the United States for being an overstay by a very interesting turn of events. The district director of the New York Immigration Service charged him with being an overstay after he gave him a 2-week extension of his time. And in the middle of that 2-week period,
he was here on visa, right? And he overstayed? Is that the position?
He had originally come in as a visitor, and he had had a number of extensions. And then finally, the Immigration Service gave him a 2-week extension. And right in the midst of that 2-week final extension, they revoked the period that they had given him, and they declared that he had been here as an overstay for the week that he had been here with their authorization. And thus the Immigration Service created the very status that they charged him with being deportable for. We fought that deportation case, and a decision was finally rendered after about a year that he was, in fact, an overstay. Now, the essential problem in a deportation case and what lies beneath the surface is that the only way one can get out of it is either to ask permission to leave this country voluntarily and get out, which John was not prepared to do, or to apply for permanent residence status. And the law prescribes that any person who had ever been convicted of any offense, no matter how small, relating to the possession of marijuana, at any time in his lifetime and under any circumstances, cannot obtain residence. And so that what was happening when the government did this little routine of revoking his stay and charging him with being an overstay, they were locking him actually into a position where the only application he could make was one which they were pretty sure he could never succeed in.
Which was?
Pardon?
The application that he would make would be one that he would never succeed in. Permanent residence.
Yes.
All right.
Now, we applied for permanent residence for John and for Yoko. We won Yoko's case, and she was granted residence, but John's case was denied. We went up on appeal before the Board of Immigration Appeals, and we lost there as well. And we are now before the United States Circuit Court of Appeals on the same issue. And basically, on that case, the issue resolves itself into whether or not what happened in England amounts to possession under our law, and whether what he possessed in England was actually marijuana under our law. You see, the substance which John was convicted of possessing, he pleaded guilty, was called cannabis resin. That's a generic term, and it includes a number of substances. We had one of the top experts in the United States, a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School, testify, and he gave the only expert testimony. And his testimony was that cannabis resin is not marijuana, and marijuana is not cannabis resin. Yet the Immigration Service came to the conclusion that it was marijuana. And finally, with respect to the possession aspect, our law in the United States is very clear with respect to possession. You cannot be convicted in this country for possessing an illicit substance unless it is clear that you had a knowledge as to the illicit nature of the substance that you had.
Mm-hmm.
In England, at the time of John's conviction, a law existed which had been uniformly criticized throughout the world, and which was later repealed. And it provided that the government did not have to prove that you knew the nature of the substance whatsoever. So that if you possessed a bottle and you thought it had aspirin in it, and in fact if the aspirin turned out to be some serious drug, you must have pleaded guilty under those circumstances because there was no way out. And that actually was the legal situation that forced John into this, and that's where we stand with respect to the immigration.
I know that this is not a excuse me.
Yeah, I was just going to say one interesting point was that when they started the initial case, they claimed that it was a local New York problem, and they also started the proceedings against John and Yoko. Well, halfway or a third of the way through the proceedings, or whatever the number is, they discovered that actually Yoko did not have any record in England, and also she had a green card by a previous American husband. So this local case that was just another case like any other alien, which is what they kept claiming, was not one of those cases. So then they suddenly had to find something else, which was this overstay business, which they pulled a fast one. And so they had to give Yoko the green card. And now, one of them, I think his name is Green, keeps writing to the papers saying they're still treating me like a normal citizen, a normal alien, right, only on overstay. They're no longer mentioning about marijuana and the original normal reason I was being thrown out. And it's just interesting that the case keeps changing to suit them, you know?
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a question about that in a second. We'll continue after these final announcements from our affiliated stations. I know that this is not a satisfactory question, but maybe you have a satisfactory answer for it. You know, when all of us were little, we were told, why try to be someplace where they tell you that you're not wanted? You know, if you go over at a friend's house and his mother says, hey, I don't want you around, you come home. You could live almost anywhere you wanted to in this world.
Yeah.
And so if you're getting hassled this way, and this does not in any way negate the incorrectness of the hassle, if it is as your attorney states, why put up with it?
Because I'd like to live in the land of the free, Tom. And also, if it was up to Joe Doe on the street, he either doesn't care about it or would be glad to have an old Beatle living here, you know? You know, if I get in a cab with a cab driver, it's nothing to do with music or anything. He'll ask me, how are you doing? I hope you can stay. So on your average citizen either doesn't care or wouldn't mind me staying here. I like to be here because this is where the music came from, this is what influenced my whole life and got me where I am today, as it were. And I love the place, I'd like to be here. I've got a lot of friends here, and this is where I want to be, you know. Statue of Liberty, welcome. I even brought my own cash.
Brooklyn Bridge, want to buy it?
No, you're the ones that buy our bridges.
I should say that this program is being videotaped, this is on the air the 28th of April, so it's about 20 days ahead of schedule as we sit in the studio now. And there could very well be developments, I suppose, I'm just guessing here, between now and the air date for this that will possibly make this whole conversation moot if you're that far along. I don't know. Is that true, Counselor?
It's quite possible. There is another case which we haven't discussed, and that is our case against the government.
You've got one against them.
That's true.
Yeah.
We've gone to the court on 3 separate occasions, but the action that I'm talking about is the selective prosecution action. We had some information that the deportation proceedings against John were not normally brought. Certainly the procedure followed was not normal. And we had learned that rumors got to the Senate Internal Security Committee that John had some idea, or was rumored to have some idea, of appearing at the Republican National Convention in 1972 and leading an anti-Vietnam War demonstration or the like. And that this information in the form of a memorandum was transmitted by Senator Strom Thurmond to the then Attorney General John Mitchell, who may have at the time been sitting with the other hat as well as head of CREEP, the Committee to Re-elect the President.
Yes, the former President.
And we understand that a series of memoranda led all the way down to the District Director in New York, and that the action he took was not as a result of John's immigration status, but rather as a result or an intention to prevent John from exercising constitutionally protected rights.
What are they afraid of you doing if you have permanent residence here?
I don't know. I think when it was started, somebody didn't want me here, and now they probably don't mind, you know. It's just that it's a bureaucratic thing. It's gone on, and how do we stop it? You know, maybe whoever makes the decision doesn't know whether it be either politically right or what's going to happen if we suddenly stop now when we started it. I mean, it's very sort of embarrassing for everyone, I guess. And I don't think that half the people that started it are now having their own problems. Right? So I don't know where I am. I know there's a different lot of people in charge of my case now, and I'm sure they're not as hot to get me out because they didn't even have the Republican convention in San Diego, and I was not committed to go there either. So
I have less than 1 minute left. You know, you've been a very low-key and very mild-mannered guest on this program, and yet I've heard you described as being an egomaniac, and I'm having a little trouble understanding that description of you vis-a-vis the way that you've really been during this hour we spent together. Why would you be called that?
Because one gets a reputation, you know, for one thing or other, whether it's true or false. If being an egomaniac means I believe in what I do and my art or my music, in that respect you can call me that, you know, and I believe in what I do, and I'll say it, you know. And otherwise this is pretty much me, you know, apart from being on TV, you know.
Well, you're one of the nicest egomaniacs I've ever met.
Well, so are you, Tom.